Welcome to the eBusiness Playbook podcast, proudly sponsored by Academy Global, where we help you go from theory to reality, empowering you to elevate your e-business. Join our open community at the eBusiness Playbook by Academy on Facebook and LinkedIn, and check out our training packages at academyglobal.com to find out more.
Welcome to the eBusiness Playbook, and we're here again with another interesting podcast.
Actually, maybe more of a deep dive today.
Right, a deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really topical. The Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer, or CAIO. It's an emerging role, but seems incredibly crucial.
Absolutely. And we want to unpack, what exactly does this person do?
Yeah, and why is it becoming so vital, right now? Seems like AI's evolution is just accelerating.
Yeah, it really is. We'll also touch on the skills, the qualifications you need.
So what does it take to step into that kind of leadership?
Exactly. And then what does this all signal for businesses? How do they navigate this whole AI age?
Think of this as your fast track to understanding a pretty big shift in the tech and business world.
And for this discussion, we're drawing quite a bit from a report. Really good insights there.
Okay, great. So maybe the place to start is, why now? Why are we suddenly seeing this CIO role pop up?
Well, it feels sudden, but it's really tied to how AI itself has changed.
How so? It's gone from, research concept to core business strategy.
Precisely. That shift is the main engine here. AI isn't just, a side project anymore.
It's not just tech tinkering in a lab.
Not at all. It's getting deeply woven into how companies operate, how they make decisions.
So it's about moving beyond just experiments.
Exactly. It's a fundamental move towards integrating AI across the whole organization, making it systemic.
And there are numbers backing this up, aren't there? I think I saw something about a surge in these roles just recently.
Yeah, the report highlights that. 13% increase in organizations creating CAIO positions just since December 2022.
13%, that's quite a leap in a short time.
It really is. It shows how quickly companies are waking up to AI's potential, its transformative power.
And realizing they need someone specific at the helm.
Yes. Dedicated leadership at the executive level to actually steer that transformation effectively.
It reminds me of other C-suite roles that emerged over time.
Like which ones?
Well, like the chief data officer, when data suddenly became this massive asset.
Good point.
Or even more recently, chief sustainability officers, as that became a top priority.
That's a really sharp comparison. The CIO fits that pattern perfectly.
So it's the next logical step in C-suite evolution.
I think so. Organizations needed specific leaders for data, for sustainability. Now they see the need for someone focused squarely on AI strategy, its integration, and crucially, its governance.
And the ultimate goal is leveraging AI for what? Innovation, efficiency.
All of the above. Driving innovation, yeah, but also optimizing how things run day to day, making smarter decisions faster.
So the why now is about AI maturing, becoming pervasive.
Right. And the realization that a scattered, piecemeal approach just won't work anymore.
You need someone high level pulling the strings, setting the direction.
Making sure those big AI investments actually align with what the business is trying to achieve.
Okay, that makes sense. So if that's the why, let's get into the what. What does a CAIO actually spend their time doing? What are the core responsibilities?
It's definitely more than just being an AI cheerleader. Strategic leadership is central.
The report mentions strategic planning first. So crafting the big picture for AI in the company.
That's probably job number one. Developing a clear, cohesive vision, a roadmap for AI integration.
Which means figuring out where AI can make the biggest difference.
Exactly. Identifying those high-impact projects, prioritizing them based on strategic goals. It's not about chasing every shiny new AI tool.
It's about value.
Real, measurable value. And that means working closely with department heads, right? Understanding their specific pain points, their needs.
So the AI strategy isn't cooked up in isolation.
Absolutely not. It has to be deeply collaborative, ensuring it genuinely helps different parts of the business achieve their objectives.
Okay, so plan first. Then comes implementation oversight, making it happen.
Right. The CIO needs to manage the whole life cycle of these AI initiatives.
From start to finish.
From the initial design and build through the deployment and then critically tracking performance afterwards.
Making sure it actually works as intended.
And delivers what was promised. Are these projects staying aligned with the strategy? Are we seeing a return on investment? That ROI piece is huge for demonstrating value.
Definitely need to prove the business case. Now, given all the talk about responsible AI, Governance must be a big part of this, too.
Oh, absolutely essential. You can't really do AI strategy today without a strong governance component.
So what does that involve? Setting up rules.
Establishing robust frameworks, yes. Guidelines that tackle the tricky stuff. Managing bias in algorithms, protecting user data privacy, ensuring compliance with regulations like GDPR or others.
And that's not a one-and-done thing, is it?
Not at all. It's ongoing. Constant monitoring, regular risk assessments. It often means working with, say, an AI governance board.
What's that?
Typically, a group of experts, legal, ethical, technical, who provide oversight on how AI is being developed and used responsibly within the company.
Sounds like the CAIO needs to be a bridge builder. Lots of collaboration needed.
A huge amount. Cross-functional collaboration is key. AI touches so many areas.
So they're working with data scientists.
Data science, definitely. Engineering teams, legal teams, often compliance, risk,
To make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction.
and ensuring the approach is coordinated, cohesive, and responsible from all angles, development and deployment.
Okay, so if someone listening is thinking, wow, that sounds like a fascinating challenge, what does it take? What are the skills and qualifications companies look for in a CAIO?
It's an interesting mix, actually. You need both the tech chops and serious leadership skills.
Let's start with the tech side. What's the baseline?
A solid grasp of core AI concepts is pretty much non-negotiable. We're talking data analytics, machine learning.
Which is teaching computers to learn from data.
Right, without explicit programming.
Mm-hmm.
And things like natural language processing, how computers understand human language, that kind of foundational knowledge is crucial.
And does education matter here? Specific degrees?
The report suggests that often, yes. Advanced degrees, like a master's or even a PhD in fields like computer science, data science, AI itself, they're frequently seen as important prerequisites.
But technical skills alone aren't enough for a C-suite role, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Leadership and management experience are just as vital, maybe even more so in some ways.
What kind of experience specifically?
Significant experience leading teams, especially diverse, cross-functional ones. You need someone who can build an inclusive culture.
Someone who can manage change, because AI is definitely driving change.
A culture of change and continuous learning, absolutely. And they need to be effective collaborators working seamlessly with IT, HR, finance, legal, all the key functions.
To make sure the AI strategy actually lands well within the whole organization?
Exactly. It ensures the solutions are not just technically sound, but also strategically aligned and practical for the business.
It really brings home how timely this role is, given where AI is heading. Can you expand a bit on that? Why is the CAIO so critical in this specific moment of AI's evolution?
Well, look at the trajectory. The numbers alone are pretty staggering.
The spending forecasts.
Yeah. Worldwide business spending on AI. It's expected to hit $50 billion this year.
$50 billion.
Wow. And projected to jump to around $110 billion annually by 2024. That's rapid growth.
Are certain sectors leading that charge?
The report mentions retail and banking as being particularly heavy spenders.
Okay. So with that kind of money pouring in, the CAIO's role becomes...
It becomes about more than just implementing AI. It's about leading a full-on business transformation.
Transformation meaning changing how the business actually works.
Fundamentally re-engineered processes, yes.
Yeah.
And cultivating a culture, an organizational mindset that's really AI-driven, thinking AI first.
That sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is. And a critical part of the CIO's job is making sure this huge shift happens responsibly.
Back to the ethics and sustainability side.
Right. Ensuring long-term sustainability and corporate social responsibility are baked into AI development and use.
Which requires specific leadership qualities, I imagine.
For sure. Things like empathy, being adaptable because the field changes so fast, and fostering real collaboration to lead these diverse AI teams effectively through all that complexity.
Could you paint a picture for us? Give us a concrete example, a realistic scenario where a CAIO would be absolutely vital.
Okay, sure. Imagine, say, a big retail company. They've run a few AI pilots, maybe a cool personalization engine, or an AI tool for inventory management.
Sounds promising.
Right, the pilots look good in isolation, but they're struggling. They can't seem to properly integrate these things into the main operations.
So they're not seeing the real benefits.
Exactly. No real boost in efficiency. Customer satisfaction isn't jumping up like they hoped. It's fragmented.
That sounds like a classic case for a CAIO.
Perfect scenario. They need that strategic oversight, someone to connect the dots, align these AI efforts with the big picture goals, and actually ensure they deliver tangible ROI.
Makes sense. What's another situation? Maybe something on the risk side.
Okay, how about this? A financial institution. They're using AI for loan approvals, pretty common now. But they're facing questions, maybe scrutiny, about potential bias in the algorithm. Or maybe it's not clear how it makes decisions, the transparency issue.
That's a huge concern these days.
It really is, and that's another place where a CAIO is crucial. They'd be responsible for setting up clear governance frameworks, putting ethical guidelines into practice, and proactively managing those risks.
Protecting the company and building trust.
Exactly. Ensuring compliance, but also maintaining public confidence, which is critical.
It's interesting thinking about how this new role fits in with existing leadership. The report mentions the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. How does the CAIO differ from the CTO?
That's a common question. The main difference is really focus or scope.
Okay.
The CTO typically has a very broad remit overseeing all the technology infrastructure and strategy for the company.
Networks, software, hardware, everything.
Pretty much. Whereas the CIO has a much narrower but deeper focus specifically on AI. Its strategic application, its integration across the business.
And that 13% increase we talked about suggests companies see AI as needing that dedicated focus.
I think it does. It signals that organizations recognize AI isn't just another item on the CTO's long list. It's unique enough, strategic enough, complex enough to warrant its own executive leader.
Will there be turf wars initially?
Potentially, some adjustments, yeah. Organizations need to clearly define the roles and responsibilities. Collaboration between the CIO and CTO and other execs is absolutely essential.
But the CAIO brings that specialized, up-to-the-minute AI expertise.
That's the key differentiator. Deep current knowledge of AI capabilities, limitations, ethics, the whole landscape. That's the CIO's domain.
So one last area, culture. How does having a CIO impact the overall vibe or culture of an organization? It feels like it would have ripples beyond just tech projects.
Oh, definitely. The CIO often becomes a major catalyst for cultural change.
How so? By championing AI.
Partly, yes. Fostering more openness to AI, educating people across the company, not just tech teams, about what AI can and can't do.
Making it less scary or mysterious.
Exactly. And promoting data literacy is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Getting everyone more comfortable with data-driven insights. There's that saying, right? Organizational culture doesn't change at the pace of technology.
True. Technology often races ahead.
So the CIO has to actively work on bridging that gap, championing the cultural shift needed to really embrace AI.
Does that include upskilling the workforce, too?
Absolutely. Investing in training and development so employees have the skills to work alongside AI, to thrive in that enhanced environment.
And facilitating collaboration.
Yes, acting as that bridge again between the technical folks and the business functions, getting everyone aligned on a shared vision for how AI will be used.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it seems clear the CIO is a vital new role.
Emerging, yes, but critical. Focused on strategic, ethical AI integration.
And it requires that unique blend, deep tech knowledge, strong leadership, and navigating all the ethical complexity.
Right. And the fact that we're seeing more and more of these roles pop up really underscores AI's transformative power.
And the need for dedicated leadership to manage it all.
To guide organizations through the opportunities, yes, but also the significant challenges.
So perhaps a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Okay.
As AI keeps evolving so quickly, what kind of organizational mindset, what kind of structure is really needed for businesses to not just use AI, but to actually thrive because of it?
That's a deep question. It's more than just technology adoption.
Right. And what role does leadership, maybe specifically the CIO role, play in building that kind of forward-thinking, AI-ready environment? Something to consider.
Or perhaps, what ethical dilemmas do you foresee becoming even more critical as AI gets woven deeper in everything we do?
Those are great questions to ponder. The landscape is changing so fast.
That certainly is. Thanks for joining us today on the eBusiness Playbook.
For the complete PDF with all the insights from this episode, head over to academyglobal.com. There, you'll find the PDF, plus other valuable podcasts and resources to fuel your business growth and career success. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.